Hey, what's going on? How did sports fans? This is Paul and Austin coming to you with another edition of the show. We're actually going to be doing a WrestleMania recap. That's right. The shows of shows, the 42nd edition of WrestleMania happened this past weekend and back in Vegas. So we're going to be talking about our thoughts and on the matches and some things that we liked and didn't like that didn't make sense and things that you just want to throw your laptop at a wall. Maybe not because of what the wrestlers did, but maybe the company itself or even what fans are doing because fans are dumb. But I digress. How's it going, Austin?
Oh, I'm doing great. No, not too much to complain about for myself. On the other hand, there is the weekend that we just had. I do have a few complaints about that, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
How are you?
You know what? I'm all right. I'm all right. You know what? I am a person who always gets excited for WrestleMania weekend, and I'm always the person that always tries to find the good in everything. And we'll get into that part as well. But overall, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought night one and night two. Well, I thought WrestleMania overall was really good, with night two being exceptional, and night one being all right, all right. That
So
that made I
that's
mean
a good
that
way to put it.
I mean night one wasn't necessarily great. It wasn't horrible. It was all right. I enjoyed it. I I mean it didn't make me want to throw things at the TV. So it's all good.
For me personally, I think it's a tale of two nights. Um, Night one was it just, in my opinion, it just lacked. There, it didn't have that WrestleMania feel up until really the main event, and it just didn't. I think in the ways that they wanted it to deliver, it didn't necessarily deliver all the way. Whereas night two, I thought they pretty much hit a home run.
Well, you know what's funny about that is I heard someone say that WrestleMania night one felt more corporate and night two was more for the fans. And the more that I think about it, I can understand what they're getting at because of everything that happened night one with the ads and the entrances and the I guess fans complaining about the lack of wrestling time, which we'll kind of get towards here in a second because I have some thoughts about that stuff. But overall, like I said, I thought night one was um it wasn't great. It was all right. I felt, you know, I'll put it to you like this. This is my honest take, and this is what we do on this show. When I sat down to watch night one, I was actually in the moment, in the show, enjoying everything. I was enjoying the six-man tag. Um, I enjoyed the action with the six-man tag. I thought the right person won, or at least got the pin because that person needed it in the LA Knight. Um, and I thought they ended it with a great, with ISO Speed, setting up that feud with possibly Logan Paul. My guess probably at SummerSlam, be my guess, right? I thought Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre was really good. I thought it could have been a little bit more brutal with some blood, but you don't want to go the AEW route and oversaturate the part with blood because then it would have made for what happened in the main event not as special, right? See what I'm saying?
But yeah, when
So
when there's so much blood, it doesn't mean anything.
correct. It's kind of like, at least going back to our AEW kind of comparison, it's kind of like when John Moxley bleeds every week.
Well, I mean, that's not necessarily fair. He has the forehead like Ric Flair, where if you blow a little too hard in his direction, it's just gonna all come down.
Sure,
Um, but no, 100%. I
sure.
agree with you 100%.
I for me the four team eight lady tag team match I thought was really good. It was great seeing Paige. I actually got a little, you know, choked up because seeing Paige back on WWE TV was pretty cool to see and see how the fans um responded to her and was chanting her name all night, especially when she came back in the ring and was doing her comeback, and it was awesome to see. I do have a gripe about that match. There was no reason why Nikki Bella should have been involved.
No, not at that point.
Not at that point. If she wants to be there and cheer on her sister and one of her closest friends from the Total Divas era, fine. But I don't need her hitting anybody with a crutch.
No, it. I think it kind of took away from the match at that point too.
It absolutely did. That it absolutely did. Absolutely did.
And
It was
I will say real quick, my favorite part about that match is uh the Texas standoff with Paige and Charlotte.
oh yeah,
I
that was great.
I got really giddy about that. That made me
Oh
happy.
yeah, that was another moment where I was in my wrestling feelings. That was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool to see Lash and Nia come out dressed as Demolition.
That was just nice.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool thing to see, and for them to get for um, Paige and Brie Bella to get the win, I thought that was pretty cool. Um, the Becky Lynch AJ Lee match went as well as I thought it was going to. I mean, all it did for me is just, you know, we went to go and show that there's another layer that's going to be between Becky and Jessica Carr. When are we
The
going to get
inevitable
that match?
match.
The inevitable match. Okay, so you said that. Now, for me, Gunther and Seth Rollins, that was up until the main event. That was the match of the night.
I would still consider that to be the match of the night.
Yeah, okay.
I
I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
I liked it a little bit more than the main event. I and don't get me wrong, going into it, I was worried how they were going to play it going into that, but we'll talk about it when we talk about the main event.
Yeah,
But that match in particular was it was just two guys wanting to show that they're the best,
yeah,
and it was just fun. And then
yeah.
the Braun Breaker return, so you keep them both looking still strong.
I called that.
Good one, good one.
I called that. And that was honestly my thought that Braun was going to get involved to take out Seth because Gunther's a heel and he has to have some help for him to win. And you keep Seth strong. He didn't tap out, he passed out. So I mean,
After a brutal spear too.
two, by the way. Was it two
Well,
or was it one?
the second one happened after the match.
Okay, all right. Okay. So even with that, it's fine. I'm sure certain people are going to say that, you didn't need it. You probably didn't, but it added to the story and to the match. That's just my opinion. Now, this is where for me it gets a little interesting with the women's title match between Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vicaire or Vicaire. Um, this is where I took notice of the times of the matches because with all the other matches, the other five matches, I personally thought that there was a good flow to the event. I wasn't even paying attention to the matches up until I looked at my phone and I saw somebody posting about the time of the matches. And that's when I kind of was like, oh, okay. And then at that point, that's when it kind of dawned on me that the Liv Morgan and Stephanie pinfall felt a little rush.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely did.
So, but for me, this is why I don't like reading dirt sheets because it takes away from things, which is why there were some dirt sheets that stooged the page return.
Yeah. I mean, well, it was also kind of unfortunate because what was it like? I think Wednesday or Thursday they announced that she re-signed.
See, I didn't see that. I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
didn't know
it
did
it was announced either Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember which one.
didn't know that.
I had to turn all those off for the weekend.
That's honestly that's what I did. I turned every dirt sheet off, every like all my ESPN stuff that related to WWE. I turned all that off just so I can sit down and watch and not have to be concerned about any kind of spoilers or anything like that. Before we get to the main event, this is where I kind of want to steer the conversation a little bit in regards to the times of the entrances, the times of how much wrestling there were, and I know the biggest stickler for me was the commercials. Well, of everyone was the commercials.
In case you didn't know, Hulk Hogan has a documentary coming out.
Yes, that was and that was the Hulk Hogan documentary. The time that they ran that apparently was longer than the three women matches.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
let's see
God.
here. So 8, 16. Yeah. Yeah. 8, 16, 20 minutes. Yeah. Hulk Hogan documentary was 25 minutes long when they showed it. The three women's matches were 20 and some change. You can go 21 minutes.
That's no, I that's ridiculous. I think
I,
that's absolutely ridiculous.
I actually I agree with that because I went back and forth with this because when it came to like the ads don't bother me because I understand why. And part of my why is because when you at ESPN are paying another entity $350 million a year and the reports are like they're being are underwhelmed with they've been getting back, and I'm assuming because subscriptions are down because nobody wants to pay an extra $29 a month for it unless you are bundling up with other things or you are sharing an account. um
And and the saddest thing is it's cheaper to just get a VPN.
yeah, so you got that, and actually it's funny because Stephanie McMahon said the exact same thing. um but so what do you have to do? ESPN is going to get some advertising.
Oh yeah.
So guess what? The ESPN is going to sell advertising to get their money back. And guess where they're going to do it? On your biggest show.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to
So,
be the same. It's going to be the same thing when it comes to SummerSlam. It's going to be the same thing when it comes to the Rumble, Survivor Series, all the, especially the big shows.
yes, yes. So that's why for me, I'm kind of like, why are you all mad? Like, I get it, but why are you all upset? This is where for me, it falls on creative. If you know that you're going to sit up here, I say creative and marketing and production. When you know that there's going to be X amount of time dedicated for ads, commercials, or whatever. Number one, don't have a 50-yard ramp for entrances. That right there can add on at least 2 to 3 more minutes to those actual matches. I get it. It's the production. It's the pageantry. I get it. Trust me. I I enjoyed I enjoyed the Liv Morgan entrance. Story for another day. I enjoyed seeing Alexa Bliss. Yeah, yeah, but you have to do a better job creatively and production wise to sit up here and put your wrestlers or performers at a level that will make sure that they're telling their story. So if you cut that 40, 50-yard ramp, by 20 yards, okay, you're adding another 2, 3 minutes to a match.
Yeah, it can make it a longer match. I mean, you're right. They don't need the long ramp. Um, One of the best parts about WrestleMania itself is the spectacle of the entrance. And I think, you know, this goes back to Hogan. Um, my my personal favorite entrances of anyone, you got the Undertaker. He takes 75 minutes to get to the ring at WrestleMania, but it's a spectacle and it's enjoyed. Um,
Seriously, if the Undertaker was in this WrestleMania with that long of a ramp, we would not be doing a show yet because we'll be still watching that entrance.
the entrance would legitimately take 20 minutes.
Yes, yes,
Um,
seriously.
but like, and it does suck too because like even some of the entrances on night two I thought were awesome. With having the size of the ramp, but we'll get it when we talk into night two. Um, for me, like with the matches themselves, like with the length, it just felt like none of the matches really made it like kicked it into third gear. It they were all really good matches, really solid matches, but like it felt like each one could have gotten just a
A
little
little bit more
little
time.
more,
Sure,
little bit
sure.
something.
And
And again with the ads too. Um Honestly, like you said, it's gonna happen. I mean, ads happen in every single ads have happened for a
well that
very long time.
that was going to be my next point. If you don't want to see ads in your streaming service, stop subscribing to streaming services.
But I mean, like there's a reason that they have those ads too. You have to get, especially for these more elaborate entrances, you have to get them all set up. You have to get them all ready to come out. It that all takes time. And plus, for especially for like a home viewer, if you're watching, you finish the match, it goes through and an ad pops up. You got 3.5, 4 minutes, however long they were. Go to the bathroom, grab a drink, get a snack. You can do stuff in between. It's tell network television wasn't that long ago. I remember watching cartoons as a kid, and when the commercial came on, it was like, all right, I gotta run to the bathroom. I gotta go get something to drink, and I gotta go say something to my mom. And I had that a little bit of time. It's the same deal. It's
Yeah,
just people
so
being greedy, I think.
yeah, I mean and I understand the notion about TKO. We'll get into that when we talk about the main event. But I'm not I'm not going to put this necessarily on TKO. I'm not going to. This is more ESPN recouping their money, in
Oh
which
yeah.
which in which is, you know, I took a media and advertising course when I was in college. This is exactly what happened. So for me, when I think about this, I'm kind of like, okay, they got ads. You figure out your viewing patterns with the ads. You know, what's going to happen if the W if there are no ads and ESPN or the WWE decide to make the app, I don't know, $50 a month.
That's I mean, at this rate, it's going to end up happening in, I don't know, 6 months. But still, yeah, I get what you're saying. You know, it cuts down the actual price to pay for the subscription. But
Because everything's going
um,
up anyway, right?
the only actual gripe that I do have about the ads is let's get some variety.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, it, this is supposedly the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, actually treated with some actual really good commercials or really good ads instead of the same ones over and over again.
I mean, I said the joke earlier, but like we get it. Hogan has a documentary. I understand. I don't need to be told 45 different times. But like it's gonna happen. Like you
Yeah,
said, it's
yeah,
the
but
Super Bowl of wrestling.
here's the thing. But Netflix is going to want. is going to want that documentary shown. They're going to spend their money so they can let everybody know, hey, we made that documentary. It's just like, you know, when you see some of these movie production companies paying for these 30-second spots for, the Mandalorian and Grogu or whatever Marvel movie is coming out. It's no different. It's no different. And yes, yes, the WWE has turned into a walking advertisement. Why? Because money.
That's all it ever comes down to.
At the end of the day, and this is one of the things that I had to come to grips with in terms of my fandom. At the end of the day, the WWE or TKO is about the bottom line. Whether we want to like it or not, it's a business. And I know that I had a buddy of mine we did a show with once before, hated and actually we're going to talk about what's best for business when we talk about night two. Because there's a lot of business being had in that.
Big time.
And but that's what I mean, what did authority say? We do things with what's best for business.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Unfortunately, that's kind of where we are. But I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and get mad about the ads. You just have to change your viewing patterns or don't watch the product. It's simple.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, me personally, I didn't have a problem with it. It gave you that break to be able to go do something in between. Um, but like I said, the only big gripe is let's get some variety, you
Yeah,
know.
if you're
Um,
going, I agree with that.
like you had mentioned a little bit ago, you called it the Super Bowl of wrestling. Well, the Super Bowl does not repeat an ad. Like I get you can repeat an ad every once in a while, but we don't need to do it every other ad.
All right,
We don't we don't need to hear the same shtick every time.
all right.
I mean, you said what? It was 26 minutes of Hogan.
25 minutes of Hogan documentary and about 20 to 22 minutes of actual wrestling time for the three women's matches.
You damn near watched a good chunk of the documentary right there.
Yeah,
It's just that is the only thing that bothered me about it, and I really don't have anything else to say about that. I I personally didn't see many people get upset about the ads. Again,
Oh,
it's
I
just like
oh
commercials.
I heard tons of people griping about the ads and the match, excuse me, and the sorry, and the match times and you know and entrances. Like I said before, if you're gonna as creative and production, you should know, or they should be in the room say, hey, we got about an hour and something minutes of actual ads coming up. What's the time for these matches? What's the time for these entrances? Well, we got this. Well, if you want to add some more wrestling to the thing, then you're going to cut down some part of the entrance. If you're not going to do that, then you have to tell your talent, hey, do your stuff within 7 to 10 minutes. Make it good. Make it good. And guess what? They I thought they did with the best. I thought they did well with the best time that they probably had. So,
The, yeah,
yeah, and
uh,
as fans, would we like to have it longer? Sure, but times get cut in wrestling matches all the time. I remember seeing something on, I think it was Total Divas during WrestleMania 30, where I think the Divas match got cut because Austin, Rock, and Hogan went long in their segment. It happens. It sucks, but it happens. Or I've heard Nick Nemeth talk about how, you know, they thought that they were going to have X amount of time for a match, but then their time gets cut in half. So they got to go out there, including entrance, give them 6 really good minutes. If you're a professional, you make it work. And the talent did. And the fans just got to understand that. It sucks, but it's part of the business.
It's it is part of the business. The only downfall about that is that you are really taking I think it's taking away from, like, especially Mania itself, it's taking away from that experience,
Sure.
with I like I said earlier, it just felt like a lot of these matches never made it out of second gear. And, like, in a few in particular, it needed to and just never did. Drew and Jacob, I felt could have gone better with, 4 more minutes and just a little bit more brutality. Um, I got him more on night two, but um, it just it felt off. And then you had the main event.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it like I said, at least for me, I was all into it. You know, for I was just kind of like, all right, well, we got this match, this match. Okay, I'm fine. And then, like I said, the matches were fine. The presentation of it didn't bother me. I understand why people are upset. I just don't think it's that big of a deal, me personally, especially if you try to understand everything. But then again, I tell people all the time, I am a different fan.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's true. You take more of the you take more of a look at the business side of it than,
It's not
super fandom side.
it's
Not
yeah,
like not like picking sides. You
no,
try to see both.
yeah, I try to be rational about it because here's the thing. If I was a fan that was on one side or the other, I wouldn't even enjoy it because I'll be so angry at the fact that, oh my God, Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquera only had 7 minutes. I'm not going to watch night two. Yeah, people were so angry about the match times and the entrances, how much time that got, along with the time of commercials. They were so angry that they watched night two.
Yeah. Well, I I said it earlier. I thought night two is just incredibly better than night one. I also did not have the pleasure of watching it live. I ended up having to watch it Sunday before night two started.
Mhm.
So I guess it kind of cut the commercials for me, but it just the flow felt weird for trying to condense it.
Yeah, and like I said, I wouldn't even notice it unless I looked at my phone and saw somebody complaining about the match times. Wouldn't even noticed it. Wouldn't have. I wasn't even paying attention because I was so into the match. You know, I thought the action was great, but it was just kind of like, okay, you know, but it is what it is. Now we get to the main event. Oh boy. Um, First of all, I thought the both entrances was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
Especially Cody's. Seeing within the background, within the casings, all of his gimmicks from
him
dash,
throughout the years.
yeah, from dashing to, I think they had one for Legacy, if I'm not mistaken. I know they had one for Stardust, and then they had one of his WrestleMania coats, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, they had his I think 38 return
The
coat.
38 return coat. Okay, perfect. So that was pretty cool. That him coming up with his traditional, garb and having the mask on. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, seeing Orton come out and all this other stuff. I didn't need to see Pat McAfee do the introduction of Randy Orton, but I did find it hilarious Pat McAfee going down in the ring flipping everybody off. That
He
for-
he enjoyed
he
being
enjoyed
the bad guy.
he enjoyed that way too much. But I did find that pretty funny. I thought it was a good idea to get Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll out the way early. You let them do whatever, you get them out of the way, and someone has to teach Jelly Roll how to jump.
Well, the man just lost 200 pounds. He still hasn't worked on his vertical.
I understand that, but if you're gonna do that move, yeah, you're gonna do some what's that what's that
Some
work?
lunges.
Yeah, some lunges. What's the workout called? Um, CrossFit. And no, yeah, work on some box jumpers,
There you
some
go.
box jumps and stuff like that. So right, just do that. But because he tried to jump and it was probably the worst elbow I've ever seen.
I think the camera angle helped with it though.
It did, but huh, that wasn't great. That wasn't
I
great.
didn't I didn't think it looked too bad. I knew it didn't look good. I just think it didn't look that bad. It was it was entertaining though. With the results of the match, does that mean that the theories of the tag match at Backlash are axed?
Probably. I mean, McAfee said it I can't remember if it was on his show, but he did something on social media basically saying he's going to keep his word and not be around.
Yeah.
You know, I, I'm I,
Which
I'm wondering what changed because I was under the impression, not that I have any insider knowledge, but that this was going to be Orton's going to win. But this is where I have to stop reading dirt sheets myself. There was something that came out that said that Randy Orton was dealing with a back end. Well, it wasn't a back injury, that he was banged up going into
yeah.
WrestleMania. And I don't know if that's the reason why the result changed, or or they just decided they wanted to tell a longer story, which is fine because you had Cody's story at the from 38 to 30, I'm sorry, from 39 to 40. Maybe this is Randy's story to where Randy is so focused on getting 15 that he has to go back to being who he who he truly is. And we didn't see that until what, the last 3, 4 weeks of this feud?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. But I think with how everything ended though too. I mean, like I think you're gonna finally see the chinks in Cody's armor.
well, yeah, I mean, you saw that in terms of him going from, and this is one of the things I did like about the match, because I was comparing it to his match last year's WrestleMania with Cena. Cody wouldn't do everything he can to retain. This year he did, whether it was the poke in the eye, or working on Randy's back, or you know doing the kick in the nuts. He wouldn't have done that last year.
No, and I think the slow burn is gonna be excellent.
Yeah,
If they don't mess it up entirely,
yeah,
just
yeah.
make it that slow burn.
Look, if you take TKO out of it, and I think for a lot of fans, to be honest, for a lot of fans, the fact that they had Pat McAfee in this match took a lot of fans out of it, to where they was not as invested in the match itself. Because we talked about before about how basically the two celebrities were probably more important than the two guys who were actually wrestling in the match. You had the 20 years of history.
History.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a buddy of mine told me, was like, well, they should have done it, Drew and Randy. I go, that would have been a better match. I go, no, it wouldn't have.
I have ooh, the better match. The the term better match has been thrown around this weekend because I ended up watching it with a buddy of mine. Um, you know, we were both watching it and then hopped on like a call or something and we're just talking through it. Um, and then talked to a couple other buddies after night two. The term better match has really gotten to me this weekend. And we'll get into it when we get into night two. Um, but it that that history with Randy and Cody, I wish could have been explored a lot more. That having Pat and Jelly Roll kind of in the lead up to the match, I think took a lot of people out of it.
Yeah.
But I thought the match still delivered where it was supposed to.
Oh, the performance within itself were Randy and Cody were fine, but I just think that people, just wasn't invested as they wanted to be
Right.
because of the people who were involved that had no business doing. And the point to my one buddy, I was just kind of like, yeah, you would have had Drew versus Randy, but guess who else would have been involved? Pat McAfee.
And with it being Drew or with it being Cody instead of Drew, I think it works a lot better in the term of that story.
Yeah,
But again, that one was probably my biggest surprise.
in terms
I'm
of
I'm
the
genu
outcome.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was probably
No,
my biggest surprise of the weekend.
I would say that as well, because I thought Randy would win, and when Cody won, I was like, my first thought was, see why people are starting not to like Cody. But as we talked about a little while ago, maybe this is Randy's story, how Randy needs to go back to that place and be the Viper, like the killer, the legend killer, so he can get 15. Because
That
that's the story.
it could it, that would be Randy's story, yeah, absolutely. And when he does inevitably, because I still think it's going to happen when he does
Oh
inevitably
yeah.
get to 15, um, that it'll be that true. Again, I'm just super excited about it because I think it's going to be incredible. It'll be that full true turn for Cody because I also think partially letting Cody win now is also like let's keep trying to get the fans to turn their back on Cody. You know, the it's they're doing to Cody with what they did with Hogan, except back then people loved it. Now people are hating it.
Yeah.
And it'll be I'm doing this for you guys. Why are you booing me? You know, the I'm out here fighting, coming every week. I'm doing it all for you. And it's gonna be that slow, descent into madness, essentially. Um, and
Oh, it's Anakin going to the dark side, becoming Vader.
again, the joke was thrown around, I think, last year specifically. The Homelander arc is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, the good guy appearance, good guy shown, but behind, not behind closed doors, but like in lack of a better terms, behind closed doors, you can see how twisted and just evil he's becoming.
Right.
Which again, but uh, night one, I guess night one as a whole for me was just as a term a little lackluster.
Here, I'm gonna buy that term, and the reason why I'm gonna buy that term is because of how they started and who came out first and what he was wearing. I did not need to see John Cena in a suit.
I also thought it was incredibly funny on both nights when he came out and before he was about to go to the ring.
Mhm.
You saw him almost start to go. You saw him almost start to going to autopilot, like he was almost about to run down the ramp.
I honestly, I would have rather have seen John Cena wear his normal stuff. I didn't need to see John Cena in a suit.
I mean, he's a good
I
looking
I
guy.
I get that. I understand that, but I'm going to compare this to The Rock, and I know The Rock was more active in terms of that WrestleMania because of what he did towards the end of the night. But The Rock wasn't in a suit.
No, no.
No.
Seeing John Cena in a suit, it's like seeing Taker in a suit for
Yeah.
different reasons.
And yeah, you're dressing well because you're the guest host of WrestleMania. You can't come out in your normal stuff and in your jorts and your John Cena Fruity Pebble shirts. You can't do that. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Just one. I know it'll probably happen again, but like just one more time on that stage, it would have been just special. Um, before we get off of night one, I want to put this petition in there to not see pay-per-view in Vegas for at least 2 years.
yeah. You can't do that again.
That
If you
was night one specifically. That crowd was awful.
yeah,
I
I'm trying to use another term outside the one that keep popping in my head because of whatever. You can't oversaturate the territory.
Yeah. I mean,
It,
last year's WrestleMania, it again, it was a lot more full. Tickets were a lot cheaper, but
I mean,
there was more
they end up
excitement.
getting they end up getting close to 51,000. I and that's probably because of the codes and for what I was reading, you had people that were waiting to that were flying to Vegas, waiting till the day of and getting a ticket for $100. Smart,
Smart people.
smart.
Yeah, but it just it, not again. It can't. Nothing can go back there.
Yeah. So, if you want to put it in the rotation for every 5, 6 years, okay. But, you can't go back to Vegas until 2034 or 2033 or something like that. Can't.
Vegas isn't your New York. It's not your Boston. It's not your Chicago. It's not one of those cities.
No, your WrestleMania should be at a big stadium of the best wrestling fan base because it's supposed to be a celebration of wrestling, right?
Oh yeah.
So you should have it at
Where,
your at your
where's Mania 43?
that's my point. That's my point
Well, for now.
for now, but it should be at those, your if you want to go to LA,
Houston,
Houston, LA, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, New York, New York, New Jersey, whatever.
go back to Toronto. Oh,
Yeah. I'll
oh.
even I'll even throw in Florida, Orlando, Tampa. We want to do places like that. Cool.
If you want to do again, I still think it would be amazing to see. But if you want to do like
Minnesota. I mean,
if you
SummerSlam's going to be in Minnesota.
if you want to do like that abroad WrestleMania again, go to London. Oh, that would be incredible.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Absolutely, absolutely. Anything else on night one before we go to night two?
Um, Again, other than the outcome of the main event, everything was pretty. I think everything else was pretty cut and dry. The moment that Paige came back, I knew they were winning. I was like, oh
Yeah,
well, there goes that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think when you and I talked yesterday, you and I got 5 matches out of the 7, correct?
On Yeah, on night one, the only
Oh,
ones
night
that we
one.
messed up was the main event and that tag match.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, but night two was so much better, so much better. Um, Different crowd. It also helped that the the first match was a banger in terms of it was only 5 minutes, but you got they got business done, and this is one
That
of
was definitely the business.
that was the
Yeah, that was a
business of it.
business match.
Yeah, and the fact that, and this is what you and I talked about before, it's the fact that when you're going to give away something for free, and you have this young up and comer going up against your established dominant talent, and you have that up and comer dominate Brock Lesnar the way that he dominated Brock Lesnar, yeah, you just made Oba Femi. Now you bring in a bunch of new people.
He's giving back the way that Taker did to him,
Yeah, yeah.
which
A- and that's the thing, like people don't understand, and this is what I was trying to when we did the the show for I think it was WrestleMania 38 when they had the greatest match of with the
the
title.
greatest WrestleMania match of all time or
Yeah,
whatever.
and I made the argument about Brock's going to do business with who Brock is going to do business with because who's going to tell Brock no? And if Brock wants to sell for somebody and he feels like you can, I mean, how long did it take for Brock to finally figure out, okay, I better do business with Roman because Roman's the guy, or Roman had to prove to Brock that he was the guy so he could do business with him.
I I mean, they main evented Mania 3 times.
Right.
Yeah,
So it wasn't basically up until like that third Mania and maybe what the one of those what the SummerSlam show where Brock got the tractor and
God, that
destroyed the
match was so
rim.
much fun.
It was fun. It was fun. But Oba Femi beating Brock Lesnar in a match that I know there's going to be certain people within my circles is not going to be happy about that because of the length, but that's what you had to do. If you were going to sit up here and establish Oba Femi as his new badass, he had to beat the biggest badass in that time frame.
While I was watching live, my first initial reaction was, "That's it." Again, watching live, a full-hearted, just initial reaction was, "That's it."
Mhm.
And now taking that time a day later to let it like soak in, sink in, would I have wanted a little more? Because I'm sorry, I love just smash. Big fan of just big people running into each other, hitting them very hard.
Yeah,
Um, I would have loved to have seen a little more, but it made perfect sense, and I thought it was correct. You know, the finish. I thought the finish actually ended up being perfect for what you needed to tell.
hmm
Um, and you know, I hats off to if it truly is, hats off to you, Brock. Enjoy
yeah,
retirement.
yeah,
Don't think it really is, but hats off to you.
yeah.
That was a great way to go out.
Absolutely. You think about his career, you think about when he started 2001, 2002, and the rocket that was put to his back and becoming at that time the youngest WWE champion, defeating The Rock, basically having fans turn on The Rock during that match at SummerSlam. And
The antithesis for Hollywood Rock.
right. And then his matches with Kurt Angle, his matches with The Undertaker, The Big Show, Eddie Guerrero. You
Mm.
you you think about those matches, and and people got to understand, like Brock 2002, 2003, and 2004. That dude was athletic as hell. what you got with Brock Lesnar when he came back in 2013, 2012, 2013,
2012.
um, you got smarter Brock. You got, I mean, Suplex City Brock, yeah. But Brock didn't need to do shooting star press and almost breaking his neck. He didn't need to do that. You just be a beast and suplex the shit out of people.
And he still had that athleticism and he showed it every once in a while, but only when it was needed. He
Right.
didn't do it all the time.
No, no. Because Brock, at the end of the day, knew how to tell a story in the ring. Whether it was his his 1 minute loss to Goldberg or
Incredible.
the 5 minute match yesterday, or I will still maintain, and I know I'm in the minority with this. I know people are pissed off that Kofi lost to Brock in 15 seconds, but if you really want to be real about it, how long do you think Kofi will really last against Brock Lesnar if they were actually fighting?
I mean, yeah, that's true. It probably less time.
Correct. That's why for me, when people say, "Oh, that was a bad decision," let's be realistic about that.
Was it a bad decision? No. Did it suck because it could have been a lot more fun? Yeah, that's my feeling on it.
Sure. But if Brock Lesnar catches you in an F5, and as small as Kofi is, you should not be able to kick out.
Unless you're Obafemi, and I made the joke yesterday, he just is the biggest human on earth.
Yes,
And good Lord, I, again, sitting back, taking the time to enjoy it, I thought it was ended up being really fun.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, just like you said, hats off to Brock Lesnar. Um, had a outstanding career. I've learned to enjoy his matches. Um, wasn't a fan of Brock when he came up because he beat my guy The Rock, but but I learned to appreciate Brock and for the attraction he was, and hopefully we'll see him again. Probably not. This is where Brock needs to be on social media because Brock can have this following for him butchering meat and cooking tomahawk steaks.
And I guarantee you, you won't see it often, but you will still see it. Um, I I can just imagine if he got a Twitter,
Oh yeah.
and
No,
excuse my language, his first tweet would be like, "What the fuck is a Twitter?"
right.
It would
Now
just be
the only
something stupid like
now the
that.
only yeah, the only thing with Brock Lesnar I might disagree on is how he likes his steak. He likes his steak medium well. I'm not a medium well guy.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I think he
That's
was on.
depressing.
Yeah, I think he said that on a when he was on Stone Cold's podcast. He said that
Mm,
he likes his steaks medium well. I'm like, no, sorry. I thought Brock was a medium rare guy.
it would only
He
make sense.
he strikes me as a medium rare guy. He also
He's
drinks.
straight.
He likes a nice whiskey and a bourbon too, if I'm not mistaken, which I can
Oh,
appreciate.
he does.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does.
I can
And the
appreciate that.
man, and apparently, this was a couple years ago, but the man hadn't had carbs in like 10 years or something.
Yeah. So, kudos to Brock, kudos to Oba family for putting on a great performance. Speaking of great performances,
Holy shit,
the six-pack ladder match, I
fun.
would say up until the main event was probably my match of the night. And oh my God. Um, I would say there are people within each match that even though you don't win, you still get yourself over. And I felt like even Rusev did something that helped himself out. But Javon Evans, that dude. Um, and yes, I'm the dumbass that picked Rusev to win just because I wanted to be different. That's okay. Because I love Rusev Day. But at the end of the day, the right guy won. Penta
Yeah,
winning, Penta winning, is good for the championship. Um, Dragon Lee being in there, JD McDonough doing what he did yesterday. Rey Mysterio. I mean,
love the fact that they gave him the uh extender
yeah,
ramp.
yeah,
They brought that back. Thought that was incredible. Got a little
absolutely.
worried. I said, "Hey, your knee's okay," but
Right,
it's
right.
okay.
But the spots within that match was so awesome. So I outside of that, the match was great. The match was fast paced. It was spot heavy, which is what you expect from a ladder match. So for me, it was fun. It was exciting, and it did what it had to do. All six guys got, even though Penta went over, everyone got over. So all good.
Um, the all of the luchadors wore red
Hmm.
and kind of had a pseudo Spider-Man moment.
Right,
Enjoyed the hell out of that.
right.
Um, Giovanni in particular, and he has been doing it, but in particular, just is a freak, and I'm pretty sure could jump 10 feet in the air.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, his cutter off the ladder was insane.
oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Um, I love I love Dragon Lee pseudo adopting the Styles Clash.
yeah.
Um,
His tag team partner.
Penta hitting the Mexican Destroyer on JD on the ladder. Oh, that
But that's
that 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 gave me chills.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like that match was spot heavy. It was fun, and those are matches that I don't mind because you you need to have one of those matches on a card.
Yeah, and that's what that's what I've been asking for a while for WrestleMania is I want that like IC ladder match because
Yeah,
those are always so much fun.
yeah. Well,
Um,
ladder
and
matches in general are fun. I mean, I think WrestleMania 41 they had the tag team title ladder
yeah,
match. Yeah,
well
that's
they
fun.
had the was it I think it was 40. No, it was 40 that they had
40,
the tag team
40.
ladder match
Yeah,
because they
yeah, that
had
was in
both
Philly.
titles up. You had to start with one and then got the other.
Yeah, that was in Philly. My mistake. Yep.
Um, and then I just want to talk about one more spot in particular. Um, uh, Ray hitting the West Coast pop onto
Mm,
Rusev through the ladder.
yeah.
If you slowed it down and watched it, Ray ate that ladder.
Whew.
He took it just straight to the chops, and oh, that looked painful. But I all in all in that match, just fun. I was smiling, laughing. I was having a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah. Um, the third match, and I'm actually happy that they actually went with this route because I remember when you and I talked, we were concerned about match placement.
Mhm.
Um, Trick Williams defeated Sami Zayn for the title. I think, we saw that coming.
I,
Trick Williams was a star. You didn't see that coming?
I went with Sammy.
Oh, I went with Trick. Yeah,
I went with Sammy
I
because and the reason again, I'll sit here and I'll still say it. I think it would have told a better story to have Sammy win, but like fully turn heel, have that Austin Brett moment, full double turn. You know, Trick
but
loses but gets over.
here's the thing though, and this is where I was going to bring this up. I'm happy you did. Um, I don't need to define Trick Williams as a heel or a babyface. Just let him be Trick.
No, I think personally it was probably needed more for Sammy to turn heel.
No, sure, sure. I'm just saying in general, like I've seen other people, you know, say that, oh, Trick Williams turned babyface. No, let Trick be Trick.
I
And
mean, there are so few people like that anymore. There really are, you know, but he is one of them.
yeah, Trick went.
It doesn't matter what side you quote unquote, see him on, heel, babyface, whatever.
Right,
He's just going to be Trick.
right. And
And
me personally, they this is I'm not gonna say this is another business decision, but like I said, I think the right guy won just because of the fact that you can do so much with Trick, and my assumption is like the next his next feud will be with Carmelo, which I look forward to because they had some bangers at NXT.
and again, there's a history.
And there's a
There's
history.
a story.
Yeah. And the fact that
Um,
those two were basically along with Oba Femi and Tiffany Stratton and Braun Breaker when they start going with the new NXT with that ugly logo. So I mean you talking about those being your future stars on a brand that people hated because it wasn't their black and blue brand.
NXT 2.0 was stupid, which made it for me a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can tell that there's slowly the changing of the guard. Um, when it comes to like getting your top guys, like you were saying, Trick, Braun, Mello, um, Tiffany, just they're starting to finally break out. And I will say this specifically, this almost had me laughing if it would have continued. I thought when Trick came out with Lil Yachty, I thought Lil Yachty was going to do the Booker T when
Hey,
when Whoop That Trick started. I
hey,
thought he was going to do it.
hey, Trick gave Booker T a shout out with the bookend.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But you heard the first couple Whoop That Tricks, and he goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, come on, come on." I almost got really excited. It didn't happen, but that's okay.
No, yeah,
Um,
but Trick Williams winning, for me, solid. Him and Sammy had a good match. Trick is over. Um,
very.
very very over, and just let Trick do what Trick does, and the fans will decide at the end of the day if they're going to cheer or boo him. You know, and
Mhm.
and and then you know just don't let excuse me let Trick be Trick.
Yeah, I, the guy is a star.
Mhm.
He's absolutely a star, and it's going to be interesting to see where Obviously, I think Melo's next, but to see where he goes next.
Yeah. Next match, you had the Demon versus Dom Mysterio. I mean, yeah, it was a street fight. It was cool. The best part of the match, honestly, was to see the entrance of the Demon. We haven't seen it
Mhm.
in a while, but for me it just came down to the fact that right guy won. I This is one of those where I wish it was for the title, for the Intercontinental title. But this is a grudge match, and they didn't have to uh to do anything else. It wouldn't shock me at all at some point, especially moving forward towards Backlash, where you see Stephanie Vaquer and Finn versus Dominic and Liv at
I can see
Backlash.
that.
You know,
I can see that.
um, if you want to go that route, but I don't really have much on this match outside of it. It was cool to see the Demon.
It was cool to see the demon, but I was expecting more of a dominant performance. I'm going to be honest. I thought they kind of dropped the ball on this one.
So you wanted to see Dom get squashed.
Not squashed, but actually be scared
Oh yeah, yeah,
and like trying to run away, trying to hide, trying to, get out of the way, hit a 619, and, try to rush for the pin, I it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but it was still okay. I I
right,
I I guess that's the word for it for me is it was okay.
right. I mean that's honestly how I felt. I mean it was if you were to ask me, it was probably my least favorite match of night two.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. It was my least favorite, but I didn't dislike it.
Right.
Um,
Next one. This is what I call business decision. Rhea Ripley defeated Jay Cargill.
okay.
Bus business decision. And part of the reason why I feel that way is because you you know I love both. And you and I talked, I felt like Rhea Rhea didn't need to win. She's already established. Jade is the one that had the most to lose if she was going to lose the title, just because of where she could go or not go at this point, right? I felt that, and I actually saw some videos of people actually not happy about Jade losing. And and for me it came down to, and first of all, let me say this. They put on a really good match. And the
I
match
I
and the
I was
match
going
was
to ask about that.
10 minutes long, but it didn't need to be longer because all you have to do is just show how powerful and how athletic they can be. This match was not going to be based in the fact that these two could wrestle or these two could
It,
hold for hold.
except the only thing that I will say, I had this opinion just as I was watching it. I think personally, and I would love to hear your opinion on this too. I think personally that was Jade's best showing in a WWE ring.
I agree with you. I know I absolutely agree with that. That was her best. That was her best match. Um, but I didn't think, and for me, it came down to business because of what Nick Khan said um, in an interview a couple of nights before WrestleMania, where they view Rhea Ripley as being the biggest star of the company. And once I saw that, I said, Jay's losing.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. But again, this is the we talked about this a little earlier. You brought up the better match thing. I was talking with some of my buddies, and they tried to, and again, better matches. It's all subjective in a way,
Sure.
your own feelings on a match. But they were trying to get me to believe that, um, oh, what match did they say? Um, what match was it? Oh, it was the match before. They were trying to get me to say that Demon and Dom was a better match than Rhea and Jade.
No.
And I said, you guys are dumb. I and I was in the minority. I was in the minority in that, but I have to hold my ground. That was an incredible. I thought that was an incredible match. That
Yeah.
was my that was my sleeper of the weekend.
Yeah. I thought those two put on a really good match in which Jade Cargill showed her athletic ability and her strength. Yeah, are there some things that you can nitpick about? Sure, you could do that with every match, but those two had an incredible match. I just think the wrong person won, and the wrong person won based off of business. Once again, I understand it, but I'm curious to know where those two go. Where does
I
Jade go? Does Rhea defend against uh Io at some point? Does Because I would have thought, and if I had the pencil, Io should have turned on Rhea to set up Rhea and Io at Backlash.
okay. Okay. I mean, I think that may be what they're pointing towards, but they could also, which sucks because not every single one needs it, but they could be doing the slow burn.
It,
You know,
that, but here's the thing: that match doesn't need a title.
no, it did not need the title. It doesn't need the title.
No, it's basically the story is Rhea cannot defeat Io.
Yeah.
That's the story. And unfortunately, this is why we're not in creative, but whatever. You know, it me personally, I would have had EO turn on Rhea and
Okay.
and and side with um Asuka and Kari, which by the way, it sucked that those two were not on the card at all, by the way. Um
Especially if the plan, uh, you know, you would suck because you would also like to get Kyrie, but this especially sucks for like Asuka. I thought I wish the card would have had EO versus Asuka.
yeah,
I thought that would have I thought that would have been great.
right. Now,
Um,
I also understand the fact that, and this leads to a shout out and a congratulations. If we're not going to get Bianca Belair anytime soon, thank you, Montez Ford. Um, Let me say this: when Bianca, first of all, Bianca Belair kind of gave it away. Number one, you can forgive me, women who watch our show. It showed in her face before she came down, and then she was way out of breath when she got in that
yeah,
ring. Number three, forgive me if I offend anybody that watches our show. I do not want to see any male do the Bianca Belair skip to the ring where she's like doing this with her braid. I do not want to see any dude do that. Not at all. Not a good look. Not a good look.
no, not particularly.
No, I
Um,
I, I don't want to see that. No, because I saw that on Saturday night, and I think that was the one time where I was like, yeah, stop. No, don't do that. Like I am a huge Bianca Belair fan. I will bump her theme music, but you will not see me skip around my house and pretend like I have a long ponytail. I will not do that.
I fair. I no,
Also,
I won't do that either.
also, when she showed her belly, I have a big belly. I do not have a six pack in my belly. She still has her six pack even though she's pregnant.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yeah,
It again, another freak of nature.
yeah.
Just incredible athlete. Um,
But
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 I will say my favorite part of that is the pictures from like the um post the announcement and stuff. It
mhm.
had Dawkins and Ford. Ford was wearing a shirt that said "Be nice to me, my wife is pregnant." That made me laugh.
Yeah, because people are pissed. I mean, I would say pissed in terms of not being able to see Bianca for at least
Year.
another year, you know. But I'm sure people are pissed in terms of the athlete aspect of it, but they're happy for.
It's not a personal thing.
It's
No,
not personal. No, it's not at all. Not at
it's
all.
just because people want to see her because she's
Yeah,
been out for so long, and
yeah,
now it's going to be this much longer.
yep, yep, yep. exactly. Nothing personal against Montez Ford and Bianca Belair. We just want to see our EST of the WWE back. That's all, including me.
And it'll be fantastic when she does.
Yeah, just like when Naomi comes back.
And again, you forget about the people when they're gone for so long, and then when they come back, it makes it sweet.
Yeah, and I thought she got a huge pop when she came out. So, and
Oh,
that and
she
that's
definitely did.
and that's part of like the business decision that we were talking about. If you're not getting Jay versus Bianca anytime soon, then yeah, you probably need to put the title on Rhea.
Fair. It's 100% fair.
Because if that's the case, then that that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Business sense. Business sense. So finally, we get to
not yet.
not yet. What you got?
Not yet. The best
Oh,
segment of
oh,
the
Dan
weekend.
Danhausen.
I laughed that entire time. I had so much fun with that.
Yeah, I would say um, I don't see how anybody. I heard Jonathan Coachman last night when talking about it say that he doesn't my thinking he doesn't like Danhausen. He thinks that Danhausen is going to eventually fizzle out. I doubt it. I mean, the dude is selling merch. The dude is over. He's stupid over. For a gimmick that probably won't wrestle as much. And actually, here, just think about this way. What do you think is going to happen and how over he's going to be if, I don't know, someone puts him through a table?
Yeah.
You
It,
know that's coming.
oh yeah.
Actually, actually, I'm
Whoever
surprised Vince McMahon would have done that by now.
and when it happens, people are going to absolutely hate who does it
Oh yeah, yeah, because they love Danhausen.
because he's hysterical.
Yeah,
And
because
you need a couple of, maybe not a couple, but you need people like that in the business.
yeah,
Like there's a reason that a 53-year-old R-Truth is still going because that is R-Truth's role, is just make
right,
people laugh,
right.
make people have a good time, and Danhausen will continue to do that. And Michael Cole having to stop for a moment and say, before anybody gets mad at me on social media, the Danhausen midgets, I lost it. I
Well,
absolutely
I
lost it.
I was concerned because they used that word and then Miz used it, and I'm like, oh, okay, but whatever. But seeing that, and then you had one of them punching Kit Wilson in the nuts. You had Danhausen punching Miz in the nuts. Yeah, and then and then you had the involvement between him and Cena, and then you didn't know what was going to happen, and then he introduced himself, and then huge pop for that.
And then again, the 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 I'm gonna disappear now, and the very small puff of smoke,
Yeah,
and he did not move was hysterical. Then he runs up under the ring. It takes him forever.
yep.
Um, I actually saw my favorite tweet of the weekend said, mm, Danhausen going under the ring to cost Roman Reigns the main event. I see what they're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. No,
I
I mean, Danhausen. I was hoping to see a little bit more out of that, in terms of like we talked. I said I would love to see Danhausen come out and celebrate with the honorees of the Hall of Fame, but I'm happy we didn't see that. Plus, I don't think there was enough time to do that with
yeah.
how everything was going. But it is what it is. Danhausen over, you know. And one of the things that I try to tell people, and I heard one of the other hosts of the show that I was listening to last night, Dave LaGreca, tell Jonathan Coachman, Danhausen isn't for the diehard fan. I mean, I'm a diehard fan. I enjoy Danhausen, but Danhausen's like for my kids. Well, okay, who younger stuff like that.
Jim Cornette probably is not a big fan.
I don't know. I have to listen to his show and see if he likes that. Jim Cornette once in a while might surprise people.
I like just my opinion. It could be 100% wrong, but my feeling is that Jim Cornette may not like Danhausen, but like it's needed.
Yeah,
That type of person is needed.
it's levity. You can't be serious all the time. Wrestle, 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 wrestle. No,
Yeah,
you need to have some,
some variety.
and that's what I keep trying to explain what WWE is. It's it's a variety show,
And
something for everybody.
and again, the WWE is World Wrestling Entertainment.
Entertainment, exactly.
It's meant to entertain in
Right.
many different ways.
And the thing is that I told some buddies yesterday, I said, if you don't like what's going on in WWE, and this is no knock against the person who I'm going to say, then go enjoy Darby Allin being AEW World Champion.
I will say though, as a moment, I thought that was really cool. Going
Sure.
forward, don't know how it's going to work. I
No,
really don't.
no,
But at that moment, I thought it was really cool.
sure, sure. Now we get to the match of the weekend, the main event. Number one, I thought it was nice to see Roman Reigns going back to his original head of the table music. I thought that was a nice touch. I
Hmm.
thought it was also a nice touch once again to see um the lineage of the bloodline, his uncle, his father. Also, you saw Yokozuna in there as well. Big fan of that. Roman looks like $1 million. Um, Also cool to see CM Punk come out with tributes to Harley Race on the back of it, with the crown on the back of his jacket, and then also his old Ring of Honor music, by the way.
Hmm.
I thought that
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Um, I thought that was probably the one of the best WrestleMania main event matches I've seen in a long time, and it's probably Roman's, I would say, top two WrestleMania matches. If you want to throw in 40, if you want to throw in 40 against Cody, as
I that is a very high claim. Um, because Roman's Mania history just seems like a whole lot of ups and downs. Um, I personally liked the first Brock match a
sure,
lot.
I think this is probably better than that, and not because we talked about Brock, we talked about how Brock is able to tell a story, but the 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 story within itself was matched by was up there with the match. Like I thought this was probably the best story outside of Obafemi and Brock. If I had to rank the match the stories, Roman and Punk was number one, Obafemi and Brock was number two. But I thought personally that the story the story was here. The match was probably up here in terms of how I personally felt. And you didn't get a traditional wrestling match, and I knew wasn't gonna get a traditional wrestling match. You got a fight, and you got tables, you got hard hitting, you got blood. Once again, you didn't oversaturate your card with blood. You let it, you had it when it meant the most. And and for those people who say that Roman can't go in the ring,
That's baloney.
that match was 33 minutes long. That match was 34 minutes long.
That was I yeah, I to me personally, that was probably my second favorite match of the weekend. My favorite is still that ladder match.
Sure.
Um, but it was incredible. I really don't have any gripes outside of I won. And it's more of just a question. Why was Roman allowed to use the steps?
Oh, well, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you want to question referees stuff, I mean, it kind of goes back to um why was the referee outside of the ring for basically 15 seconds during the Gunther Seth match
Yeah,
instead of just telling guys, hey, go roll in the ring. Look, I think, and this is my opinion, when you have a match of that that caliber and which stuff was said and how personal it got, I think I think you it's referee's discretion.
okay. I I can accept that. Again, it's just one of those in the moment type things going, huh? That's not allowed.
Right, right,
Ring the bell.
right,
And again, it can play into a story.
right. So, you got that, and then kind of like when he wrestled Taker and how Taker um was still fighting at the end like the old dog. Roman just
Hmm.
put Punk out the pasture.
He just put him down.
Yeah. So, but it was also nice to see Roman win a championship match on his own.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You
again,
know,
watching it with my buddy, he was going, all right, when do the Usos come out? And I said, I don't think it's gonna happen.
no. So it wasn't about establishing the bloodline again. It was establishing Roman Reigns itself as the dominant figure within the WWE.
It was that fight,
Right.
like you
And I
said.
I'll say it again. You and I talked about this before. I said the most important championship will always be the one that Roman Reigns is holding.
Yeah. Um, and again, I thought business decision, you know, let's get a little bit more prestige onto
Hmm.
a still fairly new title. Again,
Yeah.
this when they brought it out, they said it's a brand new lineage. It doesn't take over from the last world heavyweight. It's only been out for what, 4 years?
Less than that.
It, yeah, three and a half, three and a half. Because I think it was like towards the end of 22 that it was
Are you talking about the
the
world
world
title?
heavyweight.
Okay. The one that they yeah, 22.
I think it was at the end, like towards the end of 22
It wasn't
when they
21.
debuted it.
21. 21.
I no,
No,
it
no,
was
no, no,
not
no.
21.
Oh, no, 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 no. Are you talking about the one that Eric Bischoff gave Triple H?
No, I'm talking about the one that Seth won a couple years ago to start the new lineage of it. Because the old lineage, the one that Bischoff gave to Triple H, Triple H came out and said that lineage does not count into this title.
That title didn't exist until after,
The original one was 2002.
right. But that, yeah, okay. 2022. I thought you meant
Yes.
WrestleMania 22.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh,
That
yes.
my mistake. You're right. You're right.
Let me. That's on me too. Let
That's
me.
why I was okay. No, we're good. We're good. No,
Yeah, I think it was 2022 that it debuted.
when did Roman unify the titles? Or
Mania 38. So that would have
so
been 4 years ago. Oh no, it's even younger than that. I think it was at the end of 23, 2023.
okay.
So you have 2.5 years of lineage on that title.
Yeah, and
They just wanted more prestige on it.
yeah, and plus, with Roman, you can sit up here and now you have different people. He can different challengers over Femi, Braun Breaker. He's got some stuff with Braun Breaker. He Seth. There's always a story to go back to Seth. You can go with Gunther at some point.
I mean,
There,
there are plenty of viable challengers.
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. But overall, I thought, you know, leading up to that match, it was great. Uh, the the story was told phenomenally, um, and the match was even better. Like I said,
It,
it's I would say it I would say that's one or two of Roman Reigns' best WrestleMania matches.
I can't disagree with you at all. Like 100%. It was probably the best match of WrestleMania, you know,
Yeah,
from bell to bell.
yeah, and
Um,
I
you could feel the animosity.
yeah, that's the thing. Like you felt that it was a big night feel. You know, it like I said, I can't put into words how that particular match, I guess for me was it, it just felt like a big match feel. Like it felt like a true main event.
It felt WrestleMania.
Yeah. Like, you know, when you saw those two guys in the ring staring at each other, just like you said, you felt the animosity. You felt the big match feel. You 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 felt you felt something there that you can grab hold to and you know turn the crowd 50-50 if it had to.
And I said it while I was watching it. I said, damn, Roman, you really went to work on your veneers for this one too, because those are shining.
Yeah, yeah.
It,
But overall,
uh,
the only drawback that I said, as far as you know WrestleMania, at least for me, what this boils down to is this. I understand people's frustration with night one, right? And then you get the night two. Night two was phenomenal. I actually heard that if you put just night two on its own, people were saying like this is a top five WrestleMania if you just put night two on its own. And then another thing that I didn't necessarily like is the fact that, or the thing that I didn't necessarily like is there's still the nitpickiness of certain things. Like I had someone who texted me today, was, oh yeah, night two was really good, but I didn't like, how some of these matches were longer, so they should have put another match or two on the card. I'm like, dude, you're the same person that texted me and hated the fact that the matches the other night were too short. Now they're too long. Which one is it? Daniel
make
Br
up your mind.
Daniel Bryan had a word for fans like that. Pickle.
Mm, yeah, that's a good one. Um, again, and it really sucks because like it was inevitable once the pandemic started and they moved it to 2 nights that it'll never go back to one night,
No, it's never gonna go
which
back to one night.
it's
Business
better
decision.
for that. Well, no, it's I also think it's better for the 2 nights. You can put more on the card, you can have more people, and you don't get burnt out. It's not going to be 7, 8 hours long.
No,
Um, but the only thing that sucks about the 2 nights is forever, forever now. The 2 nights for whichever Mania or going forward, I guess SummerSlam, they will always be compared, and it it just it takes me it I'm taken back by the fact that you can have so uh you can have so different, such drastic changes between the two nights.
Yeah,
Just that just blows my mind.
right.
Um, but again, that main event was big time. It was hard hitting, fast when it needed to be, slow when it needed to be.
It
Not
told it
slow, but
it told a great story in the ring, and and along with the physicality and the animosity told the story, and that's what you need. That like you could feel like there was some realness within what they were doing.
during the match, my buddy asked, "Do they really hate each other?" I said,
A- and when you ask that question, you got them.
"Yeah,
You got them.
yeah."
So
And even I'm sitting there going, "I really don't know." It, you know, because there are definitely the stories of wrestlers backstage that genuinely dislike and hate each other, but set differences aside to do business.
right, right,
Stories
absolutely,
like that will come out forever. But
absolutely,
oh, it was very, very good.
perfect, perfect. Tonight should be interesting. We'll do another show tomorrow to talk about the Raw after Mania. I'm expecting a big nights.
Which I
Uh,
argue the Raw after Mania is just as important as WrestleMania.
yeah, we should see. Hopefully, we'll see some surprises. Um, uh, I think the Raw after Mania, you should see everybody, everyone
Yeah,
that participated in WrestleMania, and then those people who didn't, who are on SmackDown. Maybe we'll see some NXT call-ups. That'll be great as well. So, we'll kind of go from there.
it. I expect it to be very good.
Yeah. Got anything else?
Um, not really. Just WrestleMania as a whole. It delivered and didn't at different times.
Yeah.
Confuses the hell out of me, but you know what? That's the business.
Yep. Yep. As long as you understand that, as long as you can figure out how to navigate through, because I'm gonna tell you one thing, it's easy to hate something than to actually figure it out. So,
Oh yeah.
but that's all we got for you all. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment at the bottom, and also tell your friends. That's Austin. This is Paul. See you guys later.
See ya.